Welcome to a very damp Donington Park for the final weekend of the 2023 Michelin Ginetta Junior Championship. We've got 3 races coming up this weekend and race 1 is about to get underway.
Let's look at the best bits then of a very, very busy race 1. This was take 1 and it was a good start from Mikey Porter that put him into the lead ahead of Hugo Schwarzer on the way down towards Redgate Corner. By the time they got to the bottom of the Craner curves though, Porter would be in the gravel, facing the wrong way, and that triggered a red flag. Race was stopped, race was restarted, and Hugo Schwarzer was relieved because not only had he seen off his main opposition, Mikey Porter, who was in the gravel, but Schwarzer himself had run wide at the old hairpin, slithered off the road and let Alicia Palmowski by into the lead. But Mikey Porter was going nowhere, and on the restart, Schwarzer was able to convert pole position into the lead, with Palmowski squabbling with Charlie Hart in second place. Jocelyn made a good move on the inside to go almost 3 wide into Redgate. Hart dropped away in the first part of the race, and again there were plenty of drivers in the wars with people dropping into the gravel. And one such was Jack Robinson, who triggered a safety car, the first of 2. But the racing got back underway. Chase Fernandez in the E3 Sport car of Jim Edwards pulled off a great move to get up the inside of the traffic to go into second place. But then he had his own moment down at the old hairpin and fell back in the queue. That meant that he had to do the hard work all over again. We then had yet another safety car interruption after into the gravel went Luca Hopkinson. That was down at the Melbourne hairpin. But through it all came Hugo Schwarzer to hang on to the win. That was how Hopkinson got to the gravel and ended up bringing out the second safety car period. And it gave us just a 1-lap blast to the end. And Schwarzer was a lucky driver in a sense because he also nearly came to grief at McLean's. But he hung on to score victory in the first race of the weekend, and they're back on track at 9:10 for more drama tomorrow morning.
Welcome back to Donington Park, a much sunnier day today for the second race of the Ginetta Junior Championship. There is a drying line appearing on the track, so we'll see who manages to make the best of that on their start.
Let's have a look at the highlights of that race that began with Alicia Palmowski squabbling with Hugo Schwarzer. Those two together on the run down towards Redgate Corner, but Alicia Palmowski hit the front and led the first 3 laps of the race despite huge pressure from Hugo Schwarzer. Henry Jocelyn made a good start, ran third as they went on to the top of the Craner curves. And as ever, there were fierce battles all the way through the field, all the way through the race. The road very damp offline to begin with, and it was still treacherous as the race wore on. Alicia Palmowski coming under attack from Hugo Schwarzer, who finally made his move on the inside line, and Rita Siwurathan went through as well. Siwurathan then, showing good speed, got himself onto the back of Schwarzer. The two of them tried to work clear of the pack behind, with Luke Hopkinson yo-yoing up and down the order as well in number 48. Chase Fernandez made his move for third on the inside of Palmowski. Hopkinson attack coming out of Goddard's as well. Schwarzer versus Siwurathan for the race lead, and eventually Rita Siwurathan was able to take advantage of Schwarzer going slightly wide at the old hairpin. He made his move on the inside of McLean's corner and once ahead got his head down and pulled away. And Rita Siwurathan was from that point on unstoppable. Alicia Palmowski did try to get the lead back, and briefly did at the old hairpin, but had an enormous slide that she was lucky to save. Siwurathan back through on the inside and on target for win number 4 of the season. Checkered flag at the ready as Rita Siwurathan came through to score honours in the second race of the weekend in the Michelin Ginetta Junior Championship, and there's more to come this afternoon.
It's time for the final race of the weekend and the final race of the season for the 2023 Ginetta Junior Championship. So who will end the weekend on a high?
Lot to cram into the highlights. Let's remind ourselves of some of it. Good getaway by Rita Siwurathan, but Alicia Palmowski again making a really good start. And on the grass, Chase Fernandez, who was able ultimately to come through as the race winner, but an awful lot happened between turn 1 and the final corner. Palmowski ahead of Siwurathan, Hugo Schwarzer in third, and then he found himself in stride at the end of the run towards Coppice and was tagged by Mikey Porter, fired him off the road. He was lucky not to hit anything solid and indeed not to get bogged down in the gravel. Then there was contact. Luca Hopkinson turned around, hit by Lindsay, hit by Spragg, hit by Jocelyn, hit by the car of Harry Moss as well. And on the restart after the safety car, Alicia Palmowski just nosing back ahead. But the very brave Rita Siwurathan stood his ground on the inside and went through, going down into the old hairpin. More drama coming out of the Melbourne hairpin on that lap, but Siwurathan was in front when it mattered at Goddard's. Chase Fernandez, though, was working his way up the order and took second place, with Eddie Robinson in third. Siwurathan on the tail as Mikey Porter made a big dive on the inside, and that shuffled the pack yet again. Fernandez down in first gear, trying to recover. Siwurathan likewise, fending them off left and right, but in the end he got forced back in the pack. Chase Fernandez came out of the corner still ahead in second spot, and then asserted himself once more into the race lead. Alicia Palmowski had this big lose late race, going across the grass on the inside of McLean's, and ultimately it was Chase Fernandez who came through the race winner to round out not only a frantic race itself, but a great year of racing in the Ginetta Junior Championship. Freddie Slater, a worthy champion. It has been action all the way, and Chase Fernandez, the final victor in 2023.